I had a long walk through the foggy forest this morning, which is where the inspiration for this charcoal exploration comes from. I mean, what a cozy day for another round of creative explorations. The studio's looking absolutely peak. We got the flowers here. Everything's nice and tidy. So there's probably no better way to mess things up than by using the dustiest material on the planet, which is charcoal powder. I'm definitely the first person to admit that I'm very mediocre when it comes to painting or drawing, but that's exactly why I want to try this today. I want to see if my design philosophy actually holds up when I'm trying something that I'm not that practiced at. And charcoal seems like a very fun and expressive medium that also matches the mood of the day. What I mean by design philosophy is that the way I approach every design project is by just playing around until something clicks. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes things click right away, but if I remain patient and curious, I usually end up with something I like. So as you can see, this is not my very first session with charcoal. This is my first ever charcoal piece. I created this about a year ago when I first picked up all of my charcoal tools from the art store. All these little marks you can see are actually from a squirrel that jumped into my apartment and ran around a bit. So officially this is a collab, I guess. One other thing I want to show you is this photo from today's walk in the foggy forest. I like how very reduced the composition is, just split into two. So this will serve as a style guide for what I'm trying to convey with charcoal today. Here's a quick rundown of my charcoal tools and how I like using them. First up is regular A4 sketching paper. I like that this one has a bit of a yellow tint to it, and also the texture of the paper is quite nice. Next up is willow charcoal. This is my main driver. It's basically just a burnt twig, and it's great for getting all sorts of textures and stroke thicknesses. I've noticed that if you get the angle right, you almost automatically get a wood-like texture, which is pretty handy for a project like this. Then there's the brush, which I use to blend edges and apply pulverized charcoal to the paper. I've noticed that pulverized charcoal doesn't give you those really dark tones, but it's great for laying a foundation so you're not starting off with a clean sheet of paper. This can also be applied with a tissue. For sharp and dark accents, I like using Pitt charcoal pencils that sometimes allow me to cut through all of those shadows I already have on my page. Last but not least, we have an eraser which comes in handy to draw in highlights. So yeah, it was time to begin the sketching session, and I started like any beginner would by sketching something very literal. So I'm talking like a big tree in the foreground, some foggy smeared up background, and it felt almost like a landscape study. I quickly realized that this was not really what I was going for. I wanted to do something really expressive and almost raw. So I tried it again, same subject matter, but just got a bit more abstract, and I liked it a lot more on the second attempt. It just had a lot more atmosphere and was a lot moodier in general. So things were heading into the right direction, but I thought I could do a bit more. So on my third try, I approached things a bit differently. I just spread out a line of charcoal and then brushed it up and down until I saw some form of a wall of trees appear. This is where I started to feel a bit like an imposter because my methods got dumber and dumber, but my results sort of improved, so I wasn't going to stop now. I actually ended up framing a couple of these, and this one was among the ones I liked the most. It was just really easy to achieve. That also made it really replicable, and I just did this a bunch of times until I was happy with one of them. And I think it looks great in the frame. What I'm trying to keep in mind here is that I don't want to be too judgmental about what I'm drawing while I'm drawing, but only after I've filled a page. Then I'll just take a look at what I've drawn and say, okay, this is terrible, this is okay, or maybe this is good, and then I'll put it on my desk or throw it away straight away. I'm just here to do and not to think. From there on, I actually sort of reached a flow state, knocking out sketch after sketch. My sketches got even more rudimentary as time went on. At some point, I resorted to just sprinkling a bunch of charcoal powder on my cloth and then just scraping it up with an A5 paper that I folded up. It felt very unintentional in a way, but after trying it a couple of times, every iteration gave me a completely different result. And by folding the paper, I sort of got a horizon line that resembled a landscape with a foggy forest in a way. So I was pretty happy with the results. The beautiful thing about this process is that I'm sort of starting to see art more as a numbers game, especially for beginners, because if 9 out of 10 sketches land in the bin straight away, but there's this one sketch you're happy with, then that just means that you have to repeat that over and over, and you might end up with 4 or 5 sketches you like. In my case, I think I even have 6 or 7. The same principles of improving and discovering new techniques applies to everything you do, whether it's photography, filmmaking, design, painting, charcoal. You just try something, iterate, then take a step back and ask yourself if it's good or bad, why is it good or why is it bad, and then you just try the next one without being too judgmental about the results. And honestly, these creative disciplines can also just flow in and out of each other and get mixed together. Right now, I'm just opening up Figma because I thought it would be cool to add some sort of typography / poster design and then try to mix that with charcoal and see what the results could be with that approach. Here I just printed out a very simple poster, just a couple of chunks of text, lots of white space to leave room for the charcoal, and then applied the charcoal using all of the different methods I talked about earlier. I printed this on the same exact paper that I'm using to sketch. That means I can get the same results with the charcoal, and also that I keep this off-white tint that the paper has, which I really like. This was fun because I never would have anticipated that starting the day with these charcoal explorations would eventually lead to me getting back to some form of poster or graphic design. But you never know. This is why these experiments are so useful, because you might end up doing something that you would have never thought of in the first place. With these posters, I'm obviously taking a lot of literal information from my reference photo from this morning here, but sometimes nice typography and a cool gradient is enough. This typeface here is called Geysir Mono by Dynamo, ABC Dynamo. Really nice typeface. I ended the day by watching some Harry Potter and doing a light kettlebell workout. I'll catch you all in the next one. This was fun, and I can only urge you to also try something of this kind.